Hello world, it's Thursday the 27th of January and we're looking at the weather forecast for the Worcester Magic Soaring weather for tomorrow, Friday the 28th of January. The Magic was very kind to us today and I think most people had a very good flight. So let's see what's in store for tomorrow. Going to look at things a bit differently. We'll start off with the boundary layer wind at 2 o'clock. And this is the low resolution big picture chart. We can see we've got a southerly flow, southerly onto the eastern ridges, southeasterly through the Breda River Valley into the Tulbach Valley, and then a little bit parallel to the ridge at Porterville, and again onto the ridges at Renosterhoek, and slightly onto the ridge at Cedarburg. Next question is, what is the cloud doing? This is the cloud base at 2 o'clock on the low resolution big picture chart. And we can see at Swellendam, cloud base is already below 3,000 feet. At Robertson, it's about 4,000 something. And at Worcester, it's actually looking quite a lot better. So that sort of defines the day for us. Let's go back to our T5 and start off from the beginning. We've got a maximum temperature of about 27 or 28. It's a bit cooler. An inversion which is over 6,000 feet. Maybe even a chance of some cloud there and the southeast wind blowing. Actually not a bad day to go gliding. It's just a question of us, where can we go to from here? Let's have a more detailed look at the cloud. This is for 2 o'clock. We can see past Swellendam, it is perhaps 3,000 feet. As you get to Ashton, maybe 4.5. Robertson, 5.5. And at Worcester, it's actually close to 7,000 feet. So at 2 o'clock, we can go east, definitely to Robertson Spur and maybe a little bit further without the cloud bothering us. But at 5 o'clock we can see Robertson is now down below 4,000 and this whole area will be cut off, and the low cloud is even creeping into the Breda River Valley towards Worcester over here. So options to the east are limited and we have to be back quite early. Just zooming out, 5 o'clock, the low resolution forecast just confirms what we've said already. Everything to the east of Ashton is pretty much IFR flying. Let's look at the wind in detail. This is at 2 o'clock. You can see the southerly blows. It's actually squirting through the gap at Villiersdorp. The gaps in the Riffiesonne Inn Mountains, around the back of the Riffiesonne Inn Mountains, southeast onto the Langeberg Ridge. We've got some lift on Brandwach, the back of Weihoek, looks like on Mostetshoek, and then on the Witzenberg. The Witzenberg should be working. Porterville Ridge, a little bit southerly, and the front ridge down towards Baines Kloof, and then it gets a little bit complicated. So far so good. Going out to 5 o'clock, big picture, we can see that this wind is still southerly but just onto the ridges at Cedarburg and definitely onto the ridge at Renosterhoek. Going out to 5 o'clock, we can see now that wind is picked up. We have nearly 20 knots coming through the Breda River Valley. It's spurting around the corner and into Tulbach Valley. It's still blowing onto the Witzenberg, but obviously getting back around this corner is a challenge we've discussed before, and not blowing so directly onto slung hook, but something should be working over here. Villiersdorp is quite southerly. Those ridges might not work all that well. And zooming out a bit, we can see that Worcester hook still working, Cederberg quite southerly, and things start happening around Porterville. Just going back onto this one, the one thing I do notice is that even at 5 o'clock, the wind in this gap is not spurting out from the Torbach Valley. It's still coming in from the west and into the Torbach Valley and out over the Witzenberg Mountains. So let's have a look at some T5 grams. This is Torbach at 2 o'clock. Inversion at 6,000 feet. Very southerly wind, about 5 to 10 knots. Certainly flyable. Torbach at 5 o'clock. Totally southerly wind, and you can see this marine air notching in as it spurts through the valley. But there's still some indication of life, maybe not so strong in the valley, and I would expect that will cut it off. But hopefully the Witzenberg will still be working. At Porterville, 2 o'clock, working with an inversion of 4,500. The wind is, though, quite southerly but a bit stronger at 15 knots. And by 5 o'clock, you see it's getting a bit weaker, below 4,000 and very southerly, with this notch of the southeaster blowing in, although it's blowing in from the south and then the southwest around the peninsula. So options tomorrow, if we can get to Porterville, it's possible. Getting back might not be so easy. Going to the east, an early leg as far as perhaps Robertson, but we can look at it in more detail in the morning. Let's look at the early morning. We can see that at 11 o'clock it's already thermic, so while the day may have an early cutoff, we don't have to wait too long to start launching. I hope you enjoyed your flying today. It was strong magic today, slightly more realistic weather tomorrow, and we see how the week takes us forward. Fly carefully and enjoy. Good night.